What's up, guys? Man, it's a rainy Wednesday night. Is it Tuesday night or Wednesday night? Rainy Wednesday night. Cold front just blew through. Winter is here, and I'll take it. And summers are brutal in Texas. I wouldn't live anywhere else, but man, summers are brutal and winters are paradise here. We have extended springs, and the temperature is just awesome here for a pretty decent chunk of the year. We don't have to deal with the snow, so I'll be a Texas boy to the day I die. Anyway, let's talk about some knives. This is a knife I've already reviewed. I've had a long time and I'm a huge fan of. This is probably the knife that if you held me down and said you can only have one, this would be the one. I'd have a trouble deciding between these two, but this one I just got in today. So this is, of course, the Custom Knife Factory Rotten Evo 2. I desperately want an Evo 1, but man, they're $1,850. They're just out of my price range. I can't pay that. I'm kind of on the list for the Evo 3. A friend of mine has 2 spots on the list, and hopefully I'm still that second one. I'm really hoping to get one of those, but man, I just think I would love the Evo 1, but maybe one of these days. Anyway, if you haven't held one of these, I'm sure you've heard. I mean, look at that Zerk tie clip. It's just beautiful. The camera does not do this knife justice, and that takes me back to when I traded for this knife. I was offered the trade. It was a good deal for me. It was a knife I wanted for sure. The knife I had was very valuable and sought after, but just wasn't moving. So I wanted to get another Evo because it was offered to me. But what was holding me up was it was modded. A lot of you know I got bit really bad on a modded Medford probably a year or so ago. And I found out that it's just not, for me, it's not a great idea to deal with modded knives. And to be fair, I'm the one that modded that knife. It wasn't the fact that I modded it that made it a problem. It was the fact that it was modded and later one of the screws broke. Didn't have anything to do with the mod. I just over tightened the screw, or the screw had a defect in it. I don't know, it just snapped. Well, they wouldn't sell me another screw, wouldn't give me another screw. I ended up selling the knife for parts. So I don't like to deal in modded knives. You know, don't let me put a stigma on that, because there's guys out there that do amazing modifications to knives, and my hat's off to them. And when I run across their knives, and like the guy that did this one, I don't want to say his name because I don't know if he does great work. I just know this one's great. He did a fantastic job. From what I'm aware of, he just modified the blade, I think. And to me, it looks like a parkerizing. The grind lines are gone. It's smoothed out. It's really, really nice. For as much as I dislike blade coatings, which I guess technically that's not a coating, it's a finish, but I like that. Has the Zerk tie backspacer and the Zerk tie clip, and it's just beautiful. So these knives, if you don't know, I started to say a while ago, if you don't know, these knives are phenomenal. The actions on these things are beautiful. It's almost, to me, the best way I can put it, if you've never handled one, it's like a cross between a Koenig and a Medford. I think would be a good, or if you don't know Medford, a Koenig and a Hinderer. You know, somewhere in there. It's got the little bit of bulkiness that I like, but it's still got the refined, super easy to carry, awesome knife. I mean, when you know what I'm talking about, if you've held a Koenig, the actions are very similar to these. And I've had a couple of Koenigs. I don't prefer the knife itself over a Koenig, like the quality or anything, but I love the visual of the knife, and it's just a more appealing knife to me than a Koenig is. I love the Mini Goblin, but that's a whole different story. I love the way they package their knives. I'm a big fan of these pouches, and these guys go even a step further. Of course, they have the certificate of authenticity type card, but they give you full hardware in case anything does break. And as a guy who broke a screw on a very valuable knife, that's near and dear to my heart, right? That would have came in a lot of handy. Could have came in handy with that last knife, but neither here nor there. I do have to bring up the elephant in the room, the monster wrench that's on my desk. As you guys know, I shop for pawn shop treasure quite a bit. And I've been going to the same pawn shop for years. And this thing has been hanging on the wall since I started going in there. And it started off like $300, $250, $200. Anyway, they had it on like mega clearance for like $64. It's $300 wrench, $300 something wrench. For like $60, $64. I went in and told them, I'll give you $50, no tax. And they sold it just to get it out of there. I'm going to hang it on the wall because I think it's crazy cool. I mean, it's literally like over 3 feet long. So it's insane. It weighs probably 40 pounds. So that's why there's a monster wrench on my desk. But anyway, back to the Evos. I just think they killed it. Now, I was told, well, I guess I saw in several reviews that CKF likes to do runs of about 300. This one is number 93. And we know that they did more than 300 of this knife, and I don't blame them. This one is 406. So we know they're in the 400s easily. I haven't seen any that are higher than that, but I haven't looked either. So the one thing as a collector you'd like to see is 93 of 300 or 406 of 500. Gives it a little bit of a cool factor, a little more exclusive, but as a collector who doesn't have one, you like to see them leave it open where they can make a few extras for those of us that really want one. Now, I did not get either one of these for the table price, unfortunately. I paid the high secondary price. I traded a very expensive knife for that. I purchased that one at, I don't even want to talk about it. It's too much, but I love the knife, and that's what matters to me. So when you ask me, is the knife worth it? It depends. Is it worth it to you? It may be a doorstop to that guy, and it may be the most valuable thing in the world to me. I had stumbled across a lighter of my grandfather's, and I wanted more information on it. He passed away years ago. So I just wanted to kind of know more about what he had and why he had this. Had this brand new gold lighter, and it was gold-plated Zippo, brand new in the box. So I looked it up on a Zippo forum, and they're a lot like we are. You know, they buy and sell and trade and all that stuff. And I guess my point was that the other groups are similar to what we do. They're not much different. Now that lighter was very valuable to a few of those guys. The lighter was valuable to me because it was my grandfather's. So it's in my collection. It stays there to be in my safe forever till I give it to my son. But as to a regular guy, a regular Zippo lighter would mean nothing to me. Like if the lighter didn't come from him, it wouldn't have any value to me. I don't smoke. It wouldn't have any value. Just like a guy that didn't carry a pocket knife and never had any reason to carry a pocket knife, these wouldn't have value. So they have value to me because they give me more than a cutting tool. They're works of art. Engineering marvels. They do a fantastic job, but I'm not buying this knife. I'm buying the feeling this knife gives me, and that's what the entire world is about. You don't buy a new sports car for the sports car. You buy it for the feeling it gives you owning and driving a sports car. You don't buy a boat just to own a boat. You buy it for the feeling that it gives you when you take it out, when you wash it, when you own it. It's a feeling. Everything in life, we're chasing a feeling. These give me great feelings. And they did a fantastic job. They're based out of Russia. I have not had any of their other knives. I have seen a few that appealed to me. One for sure is the Evo one, like I said before, but I don't see that in my cards. But there's a few others that I'm interested in. Because if they build all their knives like this, and I got a feeling that they probably do, the quality is awesome. I mean, ergos, everything about, I don't have a bad thing to say about these knives. I don't have any critiquing. I can't review these knives truly because I don't have anything bad to say about them. I love them. I like this knife a whole lot, right? This knife has been in my collection. Got a piece of smudge on there. This knife has been in my collection 3 times. I've bought it 3 times. Ran across a deal on it, you know, and picked it up this time. But there is something about it. The D10 is just, every single one of them, the D10 is just a little bit tough. The lock bar is just a little bit stiff. It doesn't flow like these do. These are just perfect. I don't have anything bad to say. I got a few bad things to say about this, but I love it. I love that knife. Microtech DOC. So, anyway, guys, that's enough of me rambling about a obviously awesome knife. And my newest one that I just got. Don't know if I would have done that blade finish myself. If I would have had that done, matter of fact, I'm sure that I wouldn't have, because I love the grind lines. But I still like this knife the way it is. I think it's super, super cool, and I'm glad I did the trade. So, guys, there's big things coming for the group, for this channel. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I'm having a website built that's probably going to change how we all operate. I think you guys are going to be excited about it. It's a big deal. I'm spending a lot of money and a lot of time on it. Probably be ready in about 7 to 8 weeks. When it gets closer, I'll tell you guys about it. But anyway, thanks for watching. God bless you and your families. Say a prayer for our country. Good night.